PNP, Police Operational Procedures. Chapter 2, Operational Procedures. Rule 11, Checkpoints. 11.1, Authority to establish checkpoints. Checkpoint is a place where the police check vehicular, pedestrian traffic, in order to enforce circulation control measure, and other laws, orders, and regulations. The establishment of checkpoints must always be authorized by the head of office of the territorial PNP unit, and manned by uniformed PNP personnel. Other units directly involved in an operation may establish mobile checkpoints in coordination with the unit commander in the area. 11.2, Composition in the conduct of checkpoint. The checkpoint team shall be composed of, but not limited to, the following. A. Team leader TL shall lead and take responsibility in the conduct of checkpoint, preferably an officer with the rank of at least police lieutenant. B. Spotter, PNP personnel who will point, profile suspected vehicle, subject for checkpoint. C. Spokesperson, team leader, or member, who is in charge of communicating with the motorist subject for checkpoint. D. Investigation sub-team, in charge of investigation and documentation of possible incidents in the checkpoint, to include issuance of traffic citation ticket TCT or traffic violation report TVR. E. Search, arresting sub-team, designated to conduct search, seizure and arrest, if necessary. F. Security sub-team, tasked to provide security in the checkpoint area. And G. Blocking, pursuing sub-team, team tasked to block, pursue, fleeing suspect's vehicle. 11.3, Guidelines. A. Mobile checkpoints are authorized only when established in conjunction with ongoing police operations. Only officially marked vehicles with blinkers turned on, if available, shall be used in establishing mobile checkpoints. B. Checkpoints are established to enforce circulation control measure, laws, orders and regulations, and when there is a need to arrest a criminal or a fugitive from justice. C. The composition of the personnel manning the checkpoint shall be left to the sound discretion of the team leader TL with the consideration of female PNP officer in the team, especially when there is an anticipated female suspect. D. The minimum police checkpoint team should at least be composed of an 8-man complement, with 3 verifiers, 1 spotter, 1 team leader, 1 profiler, 1 rear security, and 1 advanced security. E. The team manning checkpoints must have immediate contact with the LGU, Public Attorney's Office PAO, or any member of the Philippine Bar, or the media for drug cases. F. The team should encourage the participation of, but not limited to, the local government units LGU, civil society groups, non-governmental organizations NGO, business organizations, other civic groups, media, and other stakeholders, during the conduct of police checkpoint operations. G. The participation of the civilians, and the presence of the media, in the conduct of checkpoint must be confined only as observers, to give police additional eyes, and promote transparency of activities in the area. H. All civic groups, or organizations to include the media, who are inclined to participate in police checkpoints, must be duly registered and accredited by the PNP for such purpose. The accreditation of the civilian groups to join in the conduct of checkpoints shall be administered by the police regional and provincial offices. I. PNP personnel manning the checkpoint must have a presentable appearance, wearing the prescribed PNP uniform. Likewise, the civilian members must also be in their organization's uniform, with their names conspicuously displayed for identification. In no case shall the civilian components be allowed to bear firearms during the checkpoint. J. In Metro Manila and other major cities, police officers manning the checkpoints should not wear field service uniforms FSU or black fatigues, in lieu of the PNP General Office attire, unless the conduct of checkpoint is a result of a hot pursuit operation or a high-risk checkpoint. The use of mixed uniforms GOA, FSU, black fatigue in the conduct of checkpoint is strictly prohibited. K. As much as possible, the area where the checkpoints shall be established must be properly lighted, with a noticeable signage, bearing the name of the PNP unit, and the participating organizations visibly displayed in the checkpoint site, to prevent any apprehension, from the public of the existence of the same. L. Due courtesy must be accorded to the motorists, traders, and the commuters during the conduct of checkpoint. M. The spokesperson must greet the people subject for inspection, extend apology for the inconvenience, appeal for understanding, and state the reasons of the operation. Upon completion, thank the person searched. N. Except in the actual commission of crime during checkpoints, or in a hot pursuit operation, the conduct of inspection of vehicle during a routine checkpoint is limited to a visual search, and therefore must be done with due respect to innocent passers-by, commuters, or bystanders, and be conducted in a manner that is of least inconvenience to the public. Searches, seizures, and arrests made during checkpoints shall be within the ambit of the law. O. Violations, infractions of the law, discovered during the checkpoint operation, shall be expeditiously disposed of following legal procedures. Arrested persons must be apprised of their rights with respect to the Miranda doctrine. P. The security of the PNP personnel, and most especially that of the civilians participating in the checkpoint operation, must be given due consideration in the planning of the operation. Q. Only the security sub-team and blocking, pursuing sub-team members are allowed to display high-powered firearms, should be positioned where they can best provide security to the checkpoint team, including themselves. R. Checkpoint personnel must not limit their task to law enforcement and crime deterrence. They should also be ready to provide police assistance in the vicinity, example, giving directions to inquiring motorists or passers-by. S. The PNP operating units must provide their own logistical and financial requirements to avoid soliciting support from the civilians for their personal or operational needs. T. Police personnel assigned in the checkpoint shall not mulct, extort, or harass drivers, passengers, and traders. Designated team leader assigned at the checkpoint shall be responsible for the actuations and behavior of his personnel, and shall be accountable under the doctrine of command responsibility. U. Voluntary offers of cash, or in kind, from the traders, motorists passing the checkpoint, should be absolutely refused, because the offer might be misconstrued as a bribe. V. The police and the civilian component must separately submit their after-checkpoint operation report to their respective units or organization for proper evaluation of the efficacy of the operation. 4. Procedure in the conduct of regular police checkpoint. A. Unit commanders should inform Higher Headquarters HHQ's Tactical Operations Center (TOC) and coordinate with adjacent units, such as MPS, CPS, NSUs, Public Safety Company forces, and other friendly forces, personally or through an official representative, before commencing with the checkpoint, to avoid missed encounter and any untoward incident. B. The team leader shall brief the PNP personnel, as well as the civilian components present, including the media, regarding the proper conduct of the checkpoint and their assigned tasks prior to their deployment. C. The team leader shall initially account for the PNP personnel and check if they are in the prescribed uniform. PNP personnel conducting the checkpoint shall display their nameplates at all times. If wearing a jacket, the flap of the jacket bearing their names should also be displayed. Likewise, the equipment will include, but not limited to, the following. 1. Marked patrol vehicles. 2. Firearms with basic load of ammunition. 3. Handheld and vehicle base radios. 4. Flashlights. 5. Megaphone. 6. Video camera and 7. Signage. A. Warning signs. Example, slow down checkpoint ahead, checkpoint 20 meters ahead, etc. and B. Information signs. Name of the unit and team leader. D. The spotter of the team will be pre-positioned in a place where he can best point, profile suspected vehicles prior to their approach to the checkpoint. E. Search, arresting sub-team shall flag down suspected vehicles, and conduct search, seizure and arrest, if necessary. F. In the event of seized drugs, the team having initial custody and control of the drugs shall immediately conduct physical inventory, and photograph the same in the presence of the accused, or the person from whom such items were confiscated or seized, or his, her representative or counsel, a representative from the media and DOJ, any elected public official, who shall be required to sign the copy of the inventory and be given a copy thereof. G. Arrested persons and seized items shall be turned over to the investigation sub-team for documentation and proper disposition. H. In the event that the checkpoint is ignored, and the occupants of the vehicle open fire on the personnel manning the checkpoint, reasonable force to overcome the suspect's aggression may be employed. I. Inform higher headquarters before terminating the conduct of checkpoint. J. The team leader shall conduct debriefing of personnel after termination of the checkpoint. And K. Unit commander shall submit after activity report to higher headquarters. 11.5. Procedure in the conduct of on-the-spot hasty checkpoints. A. PNP personnel conducting mobile patrols on board patrol vehicles will initially man the checkpoint, to be complemented by additional personnel upon arrival of reinforcement. A collapsible signage with markings, "Stop, Police Checkpoint," if available, indicating also the name of the concerned police office, unit conducting the operations, will be used for the purpose. B. In the case of PNP personnel conducting internal security operation (ISO) or foot patrol, where a vehicle and collapsible signage is not readily available, the checkpoint shall be manned initially by said personnel. C. The team shall immediately inform higher headquarters of the exact location of the hasty checkpoint to include personnel involved and available equipment. D. In a hasty checkpoint, where there is a possibility of high-risk stop and high-risk arrest, and there is an urgency for troop deployment and that public safety might be at risk, the participation of the civilian component and the presence of the media in the checkpoint operation shall not be allowed. E. The unit commander of the personnel manning the hasty checkpoint shall immediately send additional personnel, equipment and signage to the area in order to convert the hasty checkpoint into a regular checkpoint. And F. As soon as the hasty checkpoint is converted into a regular checkpoint, team leader shall follow the procedures under 11.4c of this rule. 11.6. General procedure to be followed when checkpoints are ignored. When checkpoints are ignored, the following shall be observed. A. In the event that checkpoints, roadblocks are ignored and the motorists, suspects bump the roadblock in an attempt to elude arrest or avoid inspection, the team leader shall immediately contact adjacent units to inform them of the situation so that these units can conduct dragnet operation or police defensive roadblock, while the members of the blocking, pursuing team shall block or pursue the errant fleeing motorist. B. Warning shots shall not be allowed due to the confusion it may create for the driver and passengers of the vehicle. Megaphones or police sirens shall be used instead during the pursuit. The plate number of the vehicle shall be noted and given to other units in adjacent areas to prevent the possibility that the vehicle may elude the pursuit operation, and, circa in the event that the occupants of the vehicle open fire on the personnel manning the checkpoint, reasonable force to overcome the suspect's aggression may be employed. 11.7. Procedure in flagging down or accosting vehicles while in mobile car. This rule is a general concept and will not apply in hot pursuit operations. The mobile car crew shall undertake the following, when applicable: A. Call headquarters to provide information on the make or type and plate number of the motor vehicle to be accosted and, if possible, identity of occupants. B. State the reasons for the planned intervention of the suspected motor vehicle. C. Give the mobile car's location and its direction before making actual intervention. D. Try to get alongside the suspect's vehicle and check the occupants without alarming them of your purpose. You can even overtake the vehicle and wait for it at an advantageous location before stopping the suspect's vehicle. E. Determine whether the suspects are hostile or not. F. Make known to the suspect that you are after them through the use of a siren or megaphone. G. Instruct the driver to pull over or stop on the side of the road. H. Park behind the suspect's vehicle at an appropriate distance and cautiously approach the vehicle on the driver's side. I. If the vehicle's windows are heavily tinted and the occupants cannot be seen, instruct the driver to open all windows to have a clear view of the interior of the vehicle. J. Instruct the driver to turn off the ignition, if this was not done when the vehicle stopped. In case of motorcycle, instruct the driver to remove the key and disembark. K. The other members of the team must be on guard for any eventuality while the vehicle is being approached. L. Talk to the driver in a most courteous manner and inform him of the nature of his violation. Demand to see the driver's license, photocopies of the certificate of registration and the official receipt. Examine these documents and counter-check the driver on the information reflected therein. M. If it concerns traffic violations, immediately issue a traffic citation ticket (TCT) or traffic violation report (TVR). Never indulge in prolonged, unnecessary conversation or argument with the driver or any of the vehicle's occupants. N. In case of other violations that require the impounding of the vehicle, inform the driver regarding this situation and instruct him to follow you, after issuing the TCT, TVR. And O. Before moving out, inform headquarters regarding the situation, status and disposition of the person and motor vehicle accosted. 11.8. Dealing with hostile situation. The following are the procedures to be followed in dealing with hostile drivers. A. Stopping vehicles. 1. Follow the procedure stated in paragraphs A to C of Rule 11.7. 2. Immediately request for backup. 3. Follow the suspect and always keep him within visual range. 4. Expect that the suspect will notice your action at any time. Be prepared for hot pursuit or actual hostile confrontation. 5. If the backup is already in the vicinity, inform headquarters that you are proceeding to accost the suspect. 6. Inform the suspects that you are after them through the use of siren or megaphone and instruct the driver to pull over or stop on the side of the street. 7. Park at an appropriate distance behind the suspect's vehicle. 8. While the vehicle is being approached, the other members of the crew and backup must be on guard for any eventuality. Overreactions or aggression on the part of the police should be avoided. 9. If the vehicle's windows are heavily tinted and the occupants cannot be seen, instruct the driver to open all windows for a clear view of the vehicle's interior. 10. Direct the driver and other occupants of the vehicle not to make unnecessary movements and to show their hands outside the car. 11. Instruct the driver to turn off the ignition and toss the key to the ground. Demand to see the driver's license and photocopies of the vehicle's certificate of registration and the official receipt. Examine the documents and counter-check the driver on the information reflected therein. And 12. If there are other suspects aside from the driver, separate them from one another. B. Fleeing vehicles. 1. In the event that the motor vehicle did not stop despite the warning given, inform headquarters or adjacent units so that dragnet operations or police defensive roadblocks can be set up. 2. Inform headquarters of the maker, type, plate number and color of the motor vehicle to be accosted, including the number of occupants and, if possible, their identity. 3. State the reason for flagging down the suspected motor vehicle. 4. Give mobile car's location and its direction before making actual intervention. 5. When the vehicle of the suspect is cornered or stopped, instruct the driver and other occupants in a clear and commanding voice to follow specifically what you will require of them. Failure on their part to follow will be construed as a hostile act on their part. Execute instructions on the use of reasonable force. 6. Instruct the driver to turn off the ignition and toss the key to the ground, open the door and step out of the vehicle, then instruct him to place his hands on top of the vehicle, or to move towards you with his hands up. 7. Instruct other occupants of the vehicle, if any, to come out one by one, and follow what the driver has been instructed to do earlier. 8. Arrest, handcuff and search the suspects and bring them to headquarters for proper disposition. And 9. Before moving out, inform headquarters about the situation, status and disposition of the suspects and motor vehicle accosted. 11.9. High-risk stop and high-risk arrest. A. Initial stage upon receipt of information involving movement of armed person or persons, either singly or in group, including unauthorized movement of government troops, or in immediate response to a reported commission of crime perpetrated by armed persons, the PNP shall immediately 1. Organize appropriate tactical security forces utilizing maximum firepower and armor assets. 2. Deploy the security forces to stopping zones in defensive position. And 3. Seal off the area and establish strong roadblocks, barricades. B. Effecting a high-risk stop. When effecting high-risk stop, the police officer shall 1. Exert utmost effort to persuade the suspects to halt or stop their movement. 2. Start with the procedural conduct of regular warrantless arrest where arrest is inevitable. 3. Ensure proper documentation of the process. 4. Respect the rights of all the persons involved. C. During violent stage, the PNP shall strictly adhere to the PNP Operational Procedures, POP, particularly on the use of force, Rule 7. 11.10. Police Defensive Roadblock. Police defensive roadblock is a temporary installation or hastily built barricade set for halting traffic to facilitate the apprehension, neutralization of an armed person, suspect on board a motor vehicle. PNP Command Memorandum Circular No. 25-13. Establishment of police defensive roadblocks. A. Preconditions in establishing police defensive roadblocks. A police defensive roadblock may be established in any of the following conditions, situations. 1. The object vehicle must be the subject of a recent flash alarm. 2. The driver, occupants of the vehicle are presumed hostile and will not stop at the checkpoint. 3. The vehicle disregarded a police-established checkpoint when flagged down. 4. The identified vehicle and occupants must be the subject of a police case, combat operational plan. 5. There is unauthorized troop movement, or 6. There must be validated information on any of the following. A. Ongoing hot pursuit, police chase. B. Movement of suspected armed persons on board a motor vehicle. C. Report of suspected armed men who have just committed a crime. D. Vehicle carrying escaped prisoner, or E. Armed motorcycle riding criminals. B. Procedures in establishing roadblock. 1. Before the roadblock. A. Organize appropriate, sufficient police tactical security forces, utilizing maximum firepower and armor assets, if any, with the following team composition. 1. Team leader TL shall lead and take responsibility in the conduct of roadblock, preferably an officer with the rank of at least police lieutenant. 2. Forward observer, spotter, PNP personnel who will point, profile suspected vehicle subject for roadblock. 3. Spokesperson, team leader or member who is solely in charge of communicating with the armed suspects on board a motor vehicle subject for roadblock. 4. Sniper, to render the vehicle unoperational to avoid escape and provide firepower support to neutralize armed and hostile suspects during firefight. 5. Investigation sub-team, in charge of investigation and documentation of the roadblock. 6. Search, arresting sub-team, designated to conduct search, seizure and arrest. 7. Security sub-team, tasked to provide security in the roadblock area and ensure exclusion of other vehicles and civilians not subject of roadblock. 8. Blocking, pursuing sub-team, tasked to block, pursue fleeing suspects, vehicle. 9. Medical sub-team, tasked to provide immediate medical assistance if necessary. 9. Medical sub-team, tasked to provide immediate medical assistance if necessary. 10. Additional tactical personnel, team may be employed depending on the size of the hostiles. And 11. Videographer, tasked to take videos of the entire roadblock operation. B. The team leader TL shall brief the elements members of the police roadblock and perform the following. 1. Inform the next higher headquarters of the maker, type and plate number of the motor vehicle to be accosted, including the number and, if possible, identity of the occupants. 2. State the reasons for the planned intervention of the suspected motor vehicle. 3. Give the exact location of the roadblock to include personnel involved, available equipment and marked vehicles. 4. Coordinate with the Chief of Police and friendly forces who has territorial jurisdiction over the area. And 5. Immediately contact adjacent units to inform them of the situation so that these units can conduct dragnet operation, while the members of the blocking pursuing team shall block or pursue the fleeing suspect's vehicle. C. Participating personnel in the roadblock must be in their prescribed uniform. And D. In a roadblock, since troop deployment is urgent and public safety is at risk, the participation of civilian component and the presence of media in the roadblock shall not be allowed. 2. During the roadblock, A. Establish forward observers, spotters, in rear checkpoint. B. Deploy security forces in a strategic and defensive position. C. Establish a strong roadblock on selected strategic areas. D. Deploy road spikes or tire deflation system if available. E. Ensure that the whole intervention procedure is documented by the videographer. F. As much as possible, the area where the roadblock shall be established must be properly lighted with noticeable signage bearing the name of the PNP unit visibly displayed and in a safe distance from a populated area to prevent collateral damage if a firefight ensues. G. Police car lights must be turned on at all times during the operation. H. Identify yourself, rank, name, unit verbally and make known to the suspects that you are after them through the use of a siren or megaphone. I. If the vehicle's windows are heavily tinted and the occupants cannot be seen, instruct the driver to open all windows to have a clear view of the interior of the vehicle. J. Instruct the driver to turn off the ignition if this was not done when the vehicle stopped, and order all the occupants to disembark, followed by their hands to be placed on top of the vehicle. K. The other members of the team must be on guard for any eventuality while the vehicle is being approached. L. Intervention procedures upon stop of subject vehicle. Exert utmost effort to persuade the suspects to halt or stop their movement. 1. Start with the procedural conduct of regular warrantless arrest where arrest is inevitable. 2. Ensure proper documentation of the process. And 3. Respect the rights of all the persons involved. M. Procedures when suspects open fire, engage the troops. 1. In the event that the occupants of the vehicle open fire on the personnel manning the roadblock, reasonable force to overcome the suspect's aggression may be employed. 2. Use only necessary force to neutralize suspects. 3. Prevent panic firing. 4. Prevent collateral damage. And 5. Account for the casualties. 3. After the roadblock. A. When suspects surrendered or are arrested. 1. Arrested persons must be apprised of their rights in reference to the Miranda Doctrine. And 2. An after roadblock operations report must be submitted to their respective units or organization for proper evaluation of the efficacy of the operation. B. When suspects engage with troops. 1. Account for the casualties and give immediate medical assistance to the wounded. 2. Preserve the crime scene engagement area. And 3. Ensure proper documentation of the process. C. Fleeing vehicles. 1. In the event that the motor vehicle did not stop and it evaded the roadblock despite the warning given, inform headquarters or adjacent units so that another roadblock can be set up. 2. Fleeing vehicles shall not be fired upon except by a sniper but only to disable the vehicle. 3. Inform headquarters of the maker, type, plate number and color of the motor vehicle to be accosted, including the number of occupants and, if possible, their identity. 4. State the reasons for flagging down the suspected motor vehicle. 5. Give mobile car's location and its direction before making actual intervention. And 6. Establish hot pursuit operation.
This presentation is prepared by Police Staff Sergeant Marlon Fernandez Anabeza, a bona fide member of PNP Class 2011-01, Batch Exodus. PNP Scout, Class 34-2012, Batch Sick Lab. PNP SWAT, Class 2014-01. Batch Hitman. PNP Criminal Investigation Course, Class 363-2015.